All right, welcome to Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is when we're going to first start talking about trig. For a lot of you, this might be a lot of review material, so you might be able to move through this chapter relatively quickly. We start by just talking about, the basics of what are radians and angle measures and things that we can talk about there within 4.1. Then we move on to the unit circle, some right triangle trig and trig functions of any angles. Once again, you have that self-check. And then really we talk about graphs of sine, cosine, tangent, and all the reciprocal trig functions. And we end with inverse trig. There is a 4.8. I don't have a video that goes with it, but in section 4.8, you're just talking about sort of modeling and applying what you've learned throughout this to some of those word problems, some of those real life examples. Notice in here you have that self-check, you have a quiz at the end of the chapter, and then once again you have that collaboration station, which I really encourage you to use in order to really work with other students. Hear some explanations that aren't from me, and get some points along the way. So your main objectives, being able to convert between degrees and radians, and really understanding what the difference is between these, and understanding that if I'm talking about some angle, I could talk about it in degrees or radians and still be talking about the same level of openness. Applying unit circle knowledge to trig expressions, so that's both in terms of inverse and in terms of regular, what is the sine of. Solve for trig of any angle, so solving for theta within a domain restriction, and then graphing all of your trig functions. Anytime we're talking about this graphing, I'm not just talking about the fact that you know how to put it into a graphing calculator, but the fact that you also understand what that graph looks like and are able to graph it by hand without a graphing calculator. That's really your best way of preparing for something like AP Calc AB, because you are going to have a non-calculator portion of that exam.